Before we begin, subscribe to Farm Logic if you care about historically proven farming systems, soil that improves instead of depletes, and agricultural knowledge refined long before industrial inputs existed. This channel is dedicated to understanding how ancient farmers fed communities for centuries on the same land. And the system you're about to learn is one of the most effective examples ever developed. Across mountains in the Andes, the Mediterranean, East Africa and Southeast Asia, ancient terrace farms defied erosion, drought and soil exhaustion. These were not decorative landscapes. They were food engines that worked year after year without ploughing, synthetic fertilizer or mechanized tools. The secret was not the terrace walls themselves. It was a no-dig soil formula built on layering, continuous cover and controlled water movement. You know, modern no-dig gardening often treats this as a new discovery. But actually, ancient farmers perfected it thousands of years ago under, well, the pressure of survival. Ancient farmers learned early on that disturbing soil destroyed its strength. Digging, you see, broke fungal networks, exposed precious moisture to evaporation, and, well, it even invited erosion on slopes. On terraces, digging could also cause collapse. So the solution was to build soil upward instead of tearing it apart. Terraced fields were treated as living systems. Soil was fed from above with organic matter, allowed to settle naturally and strengthened by roots rather than blades. This preserved structure and fertility far longer than repeated tillage ever could. The foundation of ancient terrace soil was a drainage layer. Farmers placed stones, gravel or coarse organic debris at the base to slow water, prevent saturation and protect roots. Above this, they added successive layers of organic material such as straw leaves, manure, kitchen waste, and crop residues. These layers decompose slowly, feeding soil life from the top down. Finished compost or fertile topsoil capped the system, but it was never left bare. Living plants or mulch always protected the surface. Over time, worms, microbes and roots blended the layers naturally without mechanical digging. You know, this same formula can actually be applied today by building raised or terraced beds without turning the soil. If your ground happens to be compacted, it's a good idea to begin with some drainage material. After that, you just add organic matter in layers, moisten it a bit, and then cover everything with compost and mulch. And then, well, you simply let biology do the work. Terraced farms really succeeded because water was slowed, not forced. Stone walls, swales and gentle slopes help spread rainfall evenly across the beds. So instead of flushing nutrients downhill, water actually infiltrated slowly, feeding the roots and microbes along the way. Because the soil stayed covered and undisturbed, moisture remained in place for a longer period of time. That meant crops could develop deeper roots and honestly needed less supplemental water overall. Modern growers can replicate this by shaping beds to slow runoff, mulching heavily and avoiding bare soil. Even small gardens benefit from contouring and organic cover. Ancient farmers returned almost everything to the soil. After harvest, stalks were cut and laid down as mulch. Roots were left in place to decay underground. Ash from cooking fires was spread lightly to add minerals. Nothing was wasted. This closed-loop system built soil depth year after year. Terraces that began as rocky slopes eventually became deep, dark, fertile beds capable of supporting dense planting. So, applying this today means, well, resisting the urge to clean beds aggressively. Instead, you want to leave roots in place, chop and drop plant material, and allow organic matter to decompose right where it grows. Continuous planting was, another pillar of the no-dig formula. When one crop finished, another was planted immediately. Roots held soil together, fed microbes, and created channels for air and water. Even fallow periods were planted with cover crops or hardy perennials. This prevented erosion and really maintained biological activity year-round. Modern growers can, adopt this by rotating crops tightly, using cover crops or interplanting. The goal is really to keep soil alive, not exposed. The combination of layering, cover, slow water, and minimal disturbance created a stable system. Nutrients cycled internally. Soil organisms multiplied. Yields remained consistent without external inputs. Archaeological studies of abandoned terraces show fertile soil layers still intact centuries later. This longevity, it proves the system worked under real-world conditions, not controlled experiments. Ploughs, machinery and chemical fertilizers allowed short-term productivity, but, they really disrupted soil structure. Ancient systems were, slower to build, but far more durable in the long run. Terraced no-dig farming, for instance, valued resilience over speed. These days, many farmers and gardeners are honestly rediscovering these principles out of necessity, as soils degrade and inputs become, increasingly costly. Whether you're working on a balcony garden or a hillside plot, the principles you see remain the same. Build soil from the top, keep it covered, feed it continuously, avoid disturbance, and, of course, manage water gently. Even flat gardens benefit from raised, layered beds that, mimic terrace logic. The scale changes, not the method. Ancient terraced farms prove that long-term food production does not require constant soil disruption. Fertility is created by patience, layering, and biological partnership. This knowledge is not outdated. In fact, it is urgently relevant. If you value grounded agricultural history and practical systems that still work today, do consider subscribing to Farm Logic, share this guide with growers and history enthusiasts, and help keep these ancient soil strategies alive for future generations.